The SPY is consolidating perfectly above support, still maintaining above this uptrend line. The NASDAQ is still consolidating as well above support. So in today's video, we're going to go over the overall indices. We're going to go over the crypto markets, and we're going to go over this monster play that I called out yesterday for all of these Chinese tech stocks. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First and foremost, let's take a look at the S&P 500. So we've been saying that it needs to consolidate above 438, right? I was saying that it needs to consolidate above 438 and maintain above this blue trend line, which was an uptrend line that we've been monitoring for, months now, right? So that's exactly what's happening. So now you can see the SPY is making somewhat of a bull flag formation, which is a very bullish formation, obviously. So the fact that we are consolidating above support in multiple different layers of support, while you can also take a look at the MACD on the SPY. The MACD is pointed downwards, yet the SPY is still maintaining its bullish structure. So that is a very good sign for a lot of strength. So that can potentially mean that if the SPY remains above these levels of support, or even remains above this high here, which is 435.72, it has a very strong likelihood that it can go and retest this black trend line. So as long as it holds above 435.72, the SPY can come back, bounce with strength back to this black trend line that we've been monitoring as well. All right, the MACD shows that as a potential, and the RSI is also pretty strong as well. So there's that on the SPY. Let's go ahead and take a look at the IWM. So the IWM, which is the Russell 2000, was the big winner today. It was up 1.5% compared to the other indices. And you can see that it came and closed above the 50% fib level that we've been monitoring as well at 220.87. It literally closed at 220.88, 1 cent above, right? So that is a pretty good sign. What we were saying before is as long as the IWM can stay above 217 to 218 level, it can go on higher. And that is exactly what happened. We never closed below 217. We held these levels, these trendline support levels, very, very perfectly. We did fall down periodically during the day, but we didn't close below, which is that was the clear signal that these levels were holding as support. And what ended up happening the next day, today, is, we crossed on even higher. So it is a good sign that we closed above 220.87. Now we need to see if we can follow through on this move. If not, then what's going to end up happening is the IWM will fall back down to 219, come back and retest these trendline areas here, and then continue on higher potentially, right? So we can quickly take a look at the RSI. The RSI is clearly, very bullish. It's crossing above the entire formation for the candlestick pattern here. This is a bull flag, so that is very bullish as well. And the MACD, it's overbought, but the MACD is extremely bullish, regardless of how overextended it is. The fact that the candlesticks are showing a bullish pattern means that we just have to trade the levels blindly. So regardless of what's going on with the indicators, they can potentially be completely wrong. And, what we've looked at before in the past few weeks is that when there is negative divergence, when, for example, the price movement is not correlated to the MACD movement, that means that there is extreme strength in the market. Okay, so that can potentially be what's going on right now on the IWM. All right, but we need to see whether or not the IWM can stay above 218, 219. If it does, then this bull flag formation that it's creating here will be valid, and we will continue on higher potentially. The next level of resistance on the IWM is going to be 224.09. And if it crosses above that, then of course we're going to retest 228.08. All right. Now let's quickly take a look at the US 10-year yield. Not much movement here. The US 10-year yield doesn't really seem, not affected today as much. It's only down 0.72%. We could take a look at the dollar. The dollar is continuing to fall lower. It failed this uptrend level that we were watching, but this is still a bullish formation. And I said that as long as, as long as we stay above 92, the dollar is still intact for a pretty bullish move in general. We can see now that the MACD is extremely oversold. The RSI fell as well. So we need to see now if the dollar can hold 92. Now I wanted to show you guys this tweet from yesterday at 12:27 p.m. I was saying watch for a bounce in BABA, JD, and Baidu. I was looking for call positions for 3 weeks out, but I said to go light because we could potentially fall lower. So let's go ahead and check out where BABA was yesterday at 12:23 p.m., 27 p.m. Well, here is 12:30 p.m. This is the 5-minute candle. BABA was trading at 180, 181 when I posted this. Now it's overnight, it bounced all the way up to 190. And now it's trading at 196. So I said BABA, JD, and Baidu, right? So JD, boom, down here, trading at 61. Now it's trading at 70. Baidu, down here, it was trading, what is this, 153. Now it's trading at 166. So the reason for that was because, you know, yesterday we were looking at the Chinese tech sector. So we were looking at the Hang Seng index, and I showed that the Hang Seng was extremely oversold to the downside, especially outside of the lower standard deviation of the Bollinger Bands. So on large indices, for the US indices, right, I just applied the same concept to the Chinese index. So for the SPY, the QQQ, and the IWM, when we fall to the downside in a bullish market, that is a good indication that we are going to bounce higher. So when we are trading outside of the lower level of the B band on these major indices in a bull market, then it's a good indication that we could bounce back higher. That's exactly what I did here. We could also take a look at the CQQQ, which is the Chinese tech sector. This opened yesterday outside of the lower level, very similar to the IWM, which was why I alerted IWM calls a few weeks ago. So look at how overextended we are to the downside. This was a very safe, sort of clear opportunity to buy the bounce, and the bounce worked perfectly. Similar to the IWM on July 19th, this is when I also alerted calls, and we ended up skyrocketing for the next 2 days. This was a 5.5% bounce in the IWM. So these plays worked out pretty perfectly today. Yeah, thank goodness. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the NASDAQ, the 30-year yield, and then the crypto markets. So the NASDAQ is clearly making some sort of negative divergence here. You can see that the MACD is falling lower, but the price of the NASDAQ continues to stay up and is in a bullish formation. So that is extremely strong. And this sort of negative divergence, this is exactly what people on, social media and everything were talking about. Oh my God, negative divergence. This is going to be bearish for the NASDAQ. Oh my God. This has been going on for the past year. All right. We've had this negative divergence happen in the RSI and on the MACD literally for the past year. So at this point, people are just talking about it as a way to create fear and just clickbait. And it doesn't really mean anything. So, this is very, very bullish. It's actually not bearish. And this same thing has happened again for over a year. And so just look at it from this standpoint. The MACD shows the momentum. So it's showing that the momentum is slowing down. This is what the MACD means when it's pointed lower, right? So the momentum is slowing down, yet the price of the NASDAQ continues to move higher, okay? So that is why it's called negative divergence. And the fact that we, are continuing to move on higher in the actual price action of the stock is super bullish, okay? It means that it's overwhelming the technical indicator. And that's amazing. And that's very, very good news for the NASDAQ. As long as we hold the, this level yesterday at 360, the NASDAQ can continue on higher. So the next target for me is going to be a new all-time high above 368.94 for the NASDAQ. But of course, it all depends on whether or not it can hold 361.50, and then if it could hold 360. Okay, so the NASDAQ does look very, very bullish. The overall tech sector does look very, very bullish as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 30-year yield. The 30-year yield, of course, check this out. Like when the 30-year yield and the dollar do well, the NASDAQ does well. So the 30-year yield looks like there's a lot more room to the upside because it is extremely oversold on the MACD and the RSI is not overbought. And we are in a bullish structure. This is a bull flag on the 30-year yield. Okay, and we are still remaining above this uptrend. So there are many bullish factors for, you know, the overall tech sector as well. Okay, now going back to the NASDAQ, this is beautiful. So of course, if we fail 361.50 and then we fail 360, then the target to the downside is going to be the 23.6% fib level at 356.50. But I don't really think that that can potentially happen because of, you know, all of the bullish news that we've been seeing and the bullish patterns in the SPY and the NASDAQ, and as well as the bullishness of the Chinese tech sector, which did cause this selling yesterday. So overall, the entire stock market looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and take a look at crude oil. Crude oil also is creating a bull flag, a very, very tight bull flag, trading above the 38.2% fib level at 71. Very good sign. We are extremely overbought now, but let's see if we can maintain and hold above the 71 level. Consolidate a bit here, warm up, cool off on the MACD. See if we can stay above those levels. All right. So there is the analysis on the overall stock market. Now we're going to take a look at the crypto market. All right. Bitcoin closed above both of the key resistance levels that we've been monitoring this entire time. All right. So it closed above this blue trend line that we've been monitoring. Right. And I said that if we closed above here, then it would be a very good chance that we can close above 38,100. We ended up closing yesterday at what is that? 39,475. So clearly that worked out. All right. So now we just continued on higher and now we're trading above 40,000. So the next level of resistance is going to be this high right here at 41,341. So if we can close above that level, that is going to be amazing. But then if we, you know, completely close above that level, then 45,000 is going to be the next target. And overall, you know, Bitcoin made a very strong bounce. It consolidated for weeks and it eventually just bounced very, very beautifully. So now we just need to see if these key levels of support, because these are now levels of support. So we need to see if these levels of support can maintain themselves. But one of the things to take into consideration now is that Bitcoin is very, very overextended to the upside. You can see that it's trading well outside of the upper level of the B bands right here, the Bollinger Bands. It is now overbought on the RSI and it is extremely overbought on the MACD. Okay, so there are some signals that Bitcoin can potentially pull back a bit to potentially the 38,000 level. And that would be bullish for a potential retest of 38,000 or even 36,500. So you can see yesterday we did retest 36,500 and then we bounced on even higher. So I do think that we do need to consolidate and hold at those levels just a bit more, because this move is very, very strong and it's not the best bullish case for a new all-time high. One big straight line is not sustainable. So we need to have a stronger base created on Bitcoin to potentially make newer all-time highs and, you know, cross above 45,000. Right now, this is just extreme euphoria and, yeah, I mean, overall, my opinion doesn't really mean anything. As long as we can hold above 38,000 and 36.5, then overall it's going to be very bullish on the crypto market and Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum still failing to cross above and hold 2341, but until it does that, then, you know, the rotation into the altcoins is not really going to be relevant. So Bitcoin looks bullish overall. It needs to take a little breather. Ethereum could be that breather. So while Bitcoin does fall a bit and consolidate, that could give enough time for Ethereum to then catch up to Bitcoin and trade above 2,400, 2,500. By that time, Bitcoin can consolidate a bit longer, create a foundation, and then all of the profits out of Ethereum can go back into Bitcoin. So I think that is what might happen. There's my video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, and I will see you guys tomorrow.